The mythical pound-for-pound list is usually reserved for the elite talents of the sport, a list where the cream de la crop in all of boxing, regardless of weight division or potential losses on the record, are clustered together and generally stamped and sold as the best the sport has to offer. Objective? Not at all. But it does, or at least it should, give the general public an idea of whom the top 10 best fighters in the sport are. One of the main criteria and requirements for anyone on the list is to have a significant body of work. Sometimes, one win is enough to catapult a boxer straight into the top 10, hell possibly the top 5, depending on the significance of that victory. Other times, the climb seems to be excruciatingly slow. The fighter in question must endure hellacious battles and crawl his way into recognition via a ticket smeared with blood, sweat, and tears. If we look at numerous pound-for-pound lists across the sport, the unanimous number one fighter in boxing right now is none other than Saul Canelo Alvarez. With a resume as pristine as his and the amount of work he has been putting in over the past year, he has definitely earned his spot and is relentless when defending it by continuously challenging himself against other world champions. After that, the lists across the sport begin to differ. Some will have Terrence Bud Crawford as their number 2, others as number 3 or 4. Some will have Naoya the Monster Inoue as their number 2, others as 3, and some even as low as 10. And that's fine. Again, a pound for pound list will be subjective. One panel of people will have completely different views and classifications as another panel of fanatical individuals. However, one thing that has concerned me is the lack of respect towards one particular individual whom has not only put in the work, and his CV should speak for itself, but will continue to push that envelope this coming weekend by attempting to crown himself an undisputed champion in the super welterweight division. None other than Jermell Ironman Charlo. He has KO'd 7 out of his last 10 opponents, and what makes matters even more astonishing is the fact that the majority of those victims were top-rated talent at his designated weight class. Sure, he may have lost to Tony Harrison, but he bounced back nicely and regained his title by stopping Tony in the 11th round of their action-packed rematch. Last year, Jermell put his belt on the line against the unified WBA and IBF world champion Jason Rosario, and was able to pick up the vacant Ring Magazine light middleweight strap as well in the process by stopping Rosario in 8 rounds with a brutal jab to the body. Yes, you heard it right. A jab to the body stopped Rosario on his tracks and had him gasping for air on the floor for a second. That solidified Jermell Charlo as the unified king of the division. All the while, his upcoming challenger Brian Castano, a talented buzzsaw out of Argentina, had made his way onto enemy territory and was able to snatch their coveted fragment of the division in the WBO world title after a one-sided affair against Patrick Teixeira. After defeating the Golden Boy fighter on his own platform, Castano then headed back to the PBC with title in hand and one thing on his mind: unification bout. He is now scheduled to face off against Jermell Charlo this coming weekend for all the titles at the junior middleweight division. Someone's name will definitely be elevated onto the Mount Olympus of boxing and etched into the history books of the sport in just a few days. However, with all that said and a picture now painted, how much sense does it make if I told you that Jermell Charlo's name is not even rated in most of the publications online? In fact, one of the only ones I did see include Charlo on their top 10 pound for pound list was BoxingScene.com. However, the more mainstream publications of the bunch failed to even acknowledge the twin and his accomplishments. Whether it's politics because of ESPN's working relationship with Top Rank, or Oscar owning the Ring Magazine, etc., one thing remains true. Come this weekend, if Jermell Charlo is able to pull it off, there will be no questioning his position. There will be no hindrance in his progression to climb the ladder and thus be placed and recognized amongst the top talents of the sport. If Charlo pulls it off this weekend, he won't be denied any further. His respect is long overdue and his efforts will not go unnoticed. However, Castano won't make it easy and his eyes are fixated on those accolades as well. So make sure you don't miss out on one of the best fights of the year thus far, and a matchup that will most definitely deliver on the thrills department. Who do you think takes it? And does Jermell Charlo, as it stands, deserve to be in the top 10 pound for pound list? If so, why or why not? Where would he and Castano be placed at after this weekend once we find out whom the victor is? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to stay posted on my latest drops. Thanks again for tuning in, and like always, this is Shay KB, signing out.